Boogie2988 is a popular YouTuber who had his house vandalized with writing on the house saying things like thief and pedophile. A car in his driveway was also vandalized during the incident. Boogie2988 ran to Twitter to tell people that Flaming Star, a medicine man in chief of his own Native American tribe and financial guru, was to blame for this vandalism.
Chief Flaming Star, he's a Native American medicine man, and legally recognized by the state of the government.
This is his story.
So how do you view me?
I view you as someone who needs to have their story told because someone else is telling their story.
Well, what were you able to gather off the internet?
So, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's really just the stuff involving Boogie2988 and some of the stories that he told.
What is the stories? What's your version of the story right now?
Well,
as far as you,
it's not mine. It's his version of the story. But I want your feedback on it.
What's his version of the story right now?
Okay,
in about 10 sentences.
On the third day that he was here, he grabbed my elderly dog Sammy, who's arthritic and has arthritis in his back and his legs. Grabbed him by the nape of his neck and stared in his face like he's a dog trainer, raised his voice. And he did that because my dog barked at him.
You were at his house to help him with a workout routine, and that he claimed that you screamed in his dog's face.
A workout routine?
He was saying that you were there to help him lose weight initially.
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
Of me at his house?
I knew I wasn't going to be able to do this alone, and I knew my girlfriend Desi would be there for me, but I have a friend who is a medicine man for the Native American clan that he's a chief of.
I haven't felt that in a while.
Where I'm at his house, in his living room, performing metaphysical activity.
Yeah. So what about
So what did I do there? What did I do in that video?
I didn't see you yell at a dog's face.
No, I did not.
So you're saying that you didn't do that then?
That never happened.
So he's making up lies about you.
Of course he does. Next. Well, you'll find out why. Keep going with the story. What's next?
During the altercation about my dog, I'm like, get the hell out of your raise my voice at him. And he's like, you forfeited your magic cards. Those belong to me now. And I'm like, the hell I have. So I called our mutual friend who's going to catalog everything. Glenn Whitman owns the local gaming stores.
That he keeps.
And Glenn went and got my cards for me and brought them back.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. And thank God for Glenn, because I wouldn't have been able to do anything. But Ryan handed them over.
The next thing would be the Magic the Gathering cards, where he claimed that you had intent on purchasing them, and he had a middleman in between you guys who had the cards, or you were in possession of the
He
cards.
didn't have a middleman. I had a middleman because that middleman has been my friend since 2016 because he bought my video game brand.
Okay, so what happened with that then? Why does Boogie say that the cards were stolen? He came to me while I was there and said, hey, I heard that you're a financial guru. I said, yes, that's what happens when you make $5.3 billion in your lifetime. And he said, you made $5.3 billion? And I showed him the stuff from my attorneys. And he goes, how the fuck did you do that? He goes, why do you act like a fucking homeless person? I go, I don't have an ego, man. I don't have anybody I need to answer to. I don't have anybody asking me fucking questions. Yeah,
I don't have anybody that I go bother or that I fuck with. You go look all my social media, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
In the last 6 years, I've had one girlfriend. I'm a loner for a reason, is I'm a symbol. What happened is I went to his house. Okay. He said, hey, will you get me out of financial hawk? I heard you're a financial Jesus. I said, yes, I am. I created the infinite banking model, and I have a ×2 investment strategy that you could do every 12 months, and you will double your entire wealth. He said, holy fuck, sign me up. I said, well, you need some money first. Where's your money at? Show me what money you got. And he says, what if I do this? What if I sold you my magic collection for 100 grand? He's like, you got all the money. What's it matter to you? I go, don't call my bluff here. Write the contract. If you go look, it's written in his name. I have the contracts. Would you like to see the contracts? Because I signed the contracts in blood. That's what the red marks are.
The contract says there's a letter of intent for him to purchase my cards from me. That he's going to take them and get them cataloged. He has until February 16th, and if he doesn't get it done by then, he has to return them to me. If he fails to return them, he has to pay me $100,000. That's basically what it said.
And then, I mean, if he agreed to a contract like that and then backed out of the contract, I mean, that is
not backed out of the contract. He involved a city employee that stole them out of the back of my truck while we were at Macadoodles. If you read the police report, they're up for grand larceny right now. Do you know that?
These are text messages shared between Glenn and Flaming Star. Glenn being the friend that Boogie had returned the magic cards to him originally. They implied that the cards were taken without consent from Flaming Star's vehicle, and not given willingly, like Boogie said prior.
I mean, the guy just straight up jacked the shit out of my truck and said, fuck you, after he did it.
So he openly is admitting to taking it out of the vehicle.
Yes. You can't make this up, man.
Thank God for Glenn, because I wouldn't have been able to do anything. But Ryan handed him over.
Well, the first time I was exposed in his videos, I didn't know I was being recorded.
During the documentary?
Yeah.
So you were unaware that you were going to be in a documentary?
I have a lawsuit filed through the Rojas Smith attorney group with 6 attorneys suing Mike Klum.
Yeah, that's a crazy. I had no
Nobody
idea.
told that part of the story.
That's a crazy thing then, because if you're like non-consensual,
They have profiteered off of me immensely and then trashed me online. If that's not covert narcissism, I don't know what it fucking is, man.
No, I agree. That's definitely if you were not consenting to being in the documentary.
Dude, did I get paid for that? Ask anybody if I got paid for that. Ask him if I charge for ceremonies. I don't. He tipped me a $100 bill, I think, for that. He tipped me that. I drove him 2 hours out to sacred ceremonial grounds that belong to the Native Americans. And that's where we were at. That's why it looks so fucking beautiful out there, by the way. They took a Native American, a chieftain. I'm not just a Native American. I'm a chief. Hold on. First off, I'd like to see a white guy make it to be adopted by the Cherokee and then become chief. Fucking pull that off.
I wouldn't be.
Pull that off. Right? Pull that off. And then go beat 3 terminal illnesses and then go save this fat fuck.
So,
and then he turns you into a victim and then says you're a pedophile, a sex addict, a porn star thing. I went to prison for all this shit. That's all lies. I went to his house and picked up his dog and screamed at his dog. You really think I would do that as a federally licensed shaman?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You think I'm going to go do that? So wait a minute. So that voids a $100,000 contract because I yelled at your dog? So that gives the right to that guy that works for the city of Fayetteville to commit grand larceny and steal it out of the back of my truck? Because that was the only thing holding him to the 10% of the 10 grand that he owed me for going to his house. He owes me 10 grand for the services that I provided him at his house.
Yeah.
And guess what? He wasn't the only recipient. I tripped Desi too. Nobody's talking about what happened in her trip.
So wait, you gave Desi psychedelics as well?
Yes, I did. On the second day.
Wow. That's not information that is like publicly known.
No.
So,
and guess what I did? Her story will tell you, if you ever get to hear her story, she'll tell you I sent her back to her homeworld in Orion's belt. And then a hand appeared out of nowhere, grabbed her, and brought her back to Earth. Explain that, because she wasn't high when I did that. I never met the woman before. I said, lay down on the floor. I cupped her ear. I listened to where she was in the universe, and I told her exactly was, and it lined up with her birth date and her star chart. How did I do that when I've never met the woman before?
That's insane.
I told her where she was from. in space and never met her before. In 10 seconds. I didn't take like a minute and hum and put on some show. No, I laid down, I cupped her other ear, I put my ear to her other ear, and I found her frequency, and I told her exactly where she was from. And Boogie fell out of his chair and said, "Oh my God, he knows your birth date and where you're fucking from? And he was right because that's your exact horoscope? How the fuck does that happen?" And I go, "We're all sober, right?" He goes, "I don't know how to explain that."
That's
If you watch the
insanity.
video on the Local podcast while I'm actually there, he says, "I can't even explain to you what's going on in my house right now." And then all of a sudden that changes 4 days later. Because guess what happened on the day that he says I did that to his dog? Well, that's the day he was supposed to pay me. And then he didn't pay me. And now we are 2 months later because that was January 4th. So here we are 2 months later, and now his house was firebombed. They threw the lid from the water pump. I actually picked up the lid that covers the water. It's steel, and threw it through the window that he streams out of. Threw it through the window, hoping he was sitting there, but he wasn't. He wasn't home. And then I backed my truck up to his front door and peeled out with my truck from the front door all the way to the fucking street. Ruined his lawn. And then I went home, and it was actually in a car accident. Then all of a sudden, I get a call from a sergeant, from the Fayetteville Police Department talking about criminal mischief, and I said, "There's 1,700 pissed off Indians under my band." 1,700. And that man took our hold seed for this spring's crop by me spending the money to buy the supplements that we gave him, because what he doesn't tell you is the 1,400 in supplements that we gave him, the money for the mescaline trip that I put him on, the money for the mushroom trip that I put her on, the 100,000 for the cards. Do you know what that all totals to? It totals to $127,000 that he owes.
That's crazy.
Where's that story? Where's that story at? So then one of my tribesmen, is what I'm assuming, it could be a random bipartisan, I don't know, but then they go to his house and they spray paint this on his house.
Yeah, I've seen the spray paint because Boogie did tweet out about it.
It said protofile. Well, why didn't he talk about the window being broke and the peel out from his door to the driveway and his lawn being ruined? Why didn't he talk about that?
He only talked about the paint.
Exactly. So you're talking to the right dude, aren't you?
I mean, I think that it's good to hear.
Well,
your
go
side of
look at the
story.
Fayetteville police report. It'll tell you that the lid from the water thing was thrown through the window.
So you didn't do the graffiti. It was someone else who did the graffiti.
Yeah, I didn't do that. No, I threw the fucking lid through his fucking streaming window and then peeled up from his front door to the street. And I even banged on the door and called him a bitch for not coming outside.
Because he's saying that he's in Ohio right now.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, 100%.
Doesn't
I
matter.
agree.
Who cares what that man has to say?
Yeah. So
You think I care? Because
Really-
look what's happening. Look what's happening in the real world, not in the fake world that Boogie's telling everybody. Look what's happening in the real world. Why would somebody firebomb the house, throw a fucking thing through the fucking window, peel out from the door to the driveway, and then your house gets spray painted and the car gets spray painted and it says pedophile and thief? People don't do that if they didn't do anything wrong. Why would all of a sudden he be the victim of that? Obviously, he's done something wrong, has he not?
So okay, on the record then, does Boogie have a reason to be afraid? Just on the record now.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
I made a public statement with the Fayetteville Police Department. Let me show you that. They know. It's not. I even tagged the government in it. So here it is. Here's the first one, and I tagged the government in it. And you can go look at it. This is public information on my Facebook profile. Okay? And then 2 calls were made to the Fayetteville Police Department telling him that his life is in danger. Not his life, his safety is in danger. And they said, his life or his safety? I said, no, his safety is in danger because there's 1,700 families that are going to be affected by this. And if they don't have seed to plant this spring, next month, remember St. Patty's Day is planting day. If we don't have a retribution monetarily wise for that seed, 1,700 families aren't going to have crops this year. What do you think they'd do? What would you do if somebody took the food out of your kid's mouth? What would you do?
I would do anything to get the food back in their mouth, to be honest.
Right. What do you think I'd be willing to do?
I mean, if you genuinely think that, you know, he deserves it, I mean, I understand where you're coming from.
Look what he did.
I agree.
He filmed me. He made money off of that fucking video. He made money off of the video, the second video that I made, and then he made a public fool out of me twice.
So would you say he's lying about his like income and like the money he's making right now? Because he's saying basically that he only has like 30,000 or less to his name.
Well, I think he has less than that actually, because of the financial stuff that I saw. He only had $5,000 in the bank, and he only makes $3,300 a month.
So you think that he's like income wise, he's not doing too good?
He's doing horrible, but he's pretending like everything's okay. I think he loses his house at the end of 12 months if he doesn't refinance. And I said, just to be a dick, I'm going to pay the houses on your tax. I'm going to pay the taxes on your house this year. If you don't pay me back in 2 years, I get your house. So the next thing I did is I went to the city and I went and paid the taxes on his house.
So let me ask you this then: if you got the offer, like let's say they call you upon, would you be willing to go on their podcast, the local podcast?
Yeah.
So you'd be willing to be like on that show?
I'm a public figure.
I mean, I think that might just be a good place to end it off. I think we have a lot of information here. I think we have a lot to go over. Really, is there anything else you want to say? Before
I want to say that, yeah, you can record this as a statement that I'd like to give as a public service.
This would be the ending of the video right here.
Sure. I'd like to give a public announcement. My name is Chief Flaming Star of the Cherokee tribe known as Cherokee. My band is an intricate group of people that heal others. I hope that my story inspires you to be better and greater than who you actually are. Know this: you have to go through the darkest trials of your life in order you could ever stand truly into the light. May the positive vibrations of the universe forever be in your favor.
I'm not sure how this interview has changed my outlook on the situation. I just know that there are two stories that don't match each other. Maybe that's a good place to leave it. I feel like when you're interviewing, leaving an unbiased opinion at the door is better at getting closer to the reality of the situation. To be honest, I think Flaming Star and Boogie should talk it out. I think if they had a conversation, they could find middle ground, and Flaming Star did agree to come on the Local podcast. I think that might be a good place for them to kind of settle this beef. Thank you guys for watching the video. I don't usually upload videos like this, but if you enjoyed it, please check out some of my other content. I'll definitely be uploading more for sure. So always just keep an eye out for what I have coming in, and who knows, maybe I could do more videos like this in the future.
Okay, so do you know what you actually are?
What I am?
Yeah, what are you?
I do know what I am.
Okay, what are you?
I feel like in a lot of ways, and this might not make sense to you, but sometimes I feel like an entity of chaos.
You are, duh.
That's
Hello.
That's what I.
The universe. The universe is not light and dark. It's love and chaos.
Yeah, agreed.
What did you just say?
I am an entity of chaos.